field schema. Next thing I would like to mention is stop. Good. If code field is empty, it's awesome because you can define your own way of telling the system that field is empty. So if you make it required, it no longer needs to figure out itself. What does it mean that the field is empty? It can mean so many things that you cannot possibly accept the system to figure out, especially not because there are many ways. Go away. You cannot accept the system to figure out for something as flexible as the field API to figure out what is empty. It might be an extremely complex operation. For example, let's say that you are entering, you have a field, a complex field, which which shows information from a Flickr photo set. Figuring out whether a Flickr photo set is empty or not is definitely not a trivial operation, and is definitely not something that the field system in itself could figure out. And yes, fields can be remote. One of the field API architects were Larry Garfield, whose job involves all the time remote fields. Basically, field API is awesome because it was designed by a bunch of people who have experience in about various concerns. So the end result became something that addresses most concerns that we can basically think of. I'm absolutely certain that within half a year it will turn out, as it has happened with the 4 API versions, that you guys are building awesome site and one thing that we were not able to think of. Again, see you in AAA. But there are a real lot that you can do with field API. Really, I really am curious that what we have left out, aside from remote entities. But there's a summer of course who's working on that. So we know that. Whatever. The next one is field validate. Please realize when you have please realize that this has absolutely nothing to do with forms. There are no form arguments here. You don't see a form, you don't see a form state. You will see absolutely nothing here that would have to do anything with forms. Field API, although of course needs to work with forms, because the default way you are entering information into a field is via an HTML form. That's absolutely not the only way that information can enter into a field, and the form, the validation and is empty is absolutely not form bound. This is extremely important. How many instant messenger applications have I opened? Mother, I shouldn't have gone online. So we have the validate here. field hooks gets this item array in it, which is not exactly easy to work with. There is documentation, but there is not enough documentation. We are working on more, but if you manage to write a few interesting field type modules, then please help with documentation. It could use more those. Anyways, it gets these items, goes over them, picks out our column is RGB, so it checks that if there is something that is matches the regular expression we want, which is basically a 6 hex digits. So, and then it records in the errors array, which just accumulates the errors that we have. Basically, once again, you don't see a form error here or any abomination like that. Good. Now, next one probably is going to be the formatters. Formatters are about formatting your field. Real surprise. This is where Field API begins to shine. You have a module which defines this business logic, the storage details, emptiness, validation. It might even do something on insert, delete, whatever. It handles basically the business logic. This is like one part. This can be one module. Okay. You can write another module or several modules which provide formatters for any number of field types. So it's becoming like a lattice work where you have several modules working together, and one module can be the formatter to basically any number of field types. Sometimes modules do their own formatters, sometimes they reuse the formatters of other modules. So for example, the default core modules